Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. We're the Movie Couple. I'm Wendy.
I'm Dustin.
And this is our non-spoiler review for Vengeance. Vengeance is written and directed by BJ Novak, starring BJ Novak, Boyd Holbrook, Ashton Kutcher, Issa Rae, Isabella Amara, Dove Cameron, Leo Tipton, and J. Smith Cameron. A podcaster travels from New York to Texas to investigate the death of a woman who he hooked up with. Let's talk about Vengeance. This is, I believe, BJ Novak's first time directing, I want to say. He's certainly starring in the film, but I don't think he's directed a movie prior to this one. I'm not sure about his writing credits, but this is pretty interesting because we saw the trailer, and going by the title, you're thinking, okay, and this is also produced by Blumhouse, so you're thinking, all right, it's going to get a little dark, it's going to be a little horror. I would say throw away anything that you think you expect from the title, and just go in and enjoy the ride, because that trailer, if you've seen it, it makes you think it's going to go one way, but actually it goes in a different angle that I actually like much better.
Yeah, at first you kind of have this vibe that it's going to be like this it's just going to be kind of like a straight comedy, kind of like almost like an uncomfortable comedy where you're putting someone in a very uncomfortable position, but they've kind of put themselves there, so you're kind of laughing at their discomfort and this whole, what is that called? Culture shock of someone from New York being in Texas. And in the trailer, they really do push that kind of Texas vibe. And so it's very rural, and he's from this good old city boy. So that's what you think the comedy's really going to focus on. But it really goes a little bit deeper than that in the movie itself. It's not quite what you would call a dark comedy, but it kind of straddles... It kind of straddles that line of dark comedy, but a little bit of regular comedy, but also a little serious, kind of also a little bit of theory thought that I coined that term. I don't know if it's a real term, but there's a lot of theory, kind of like, bullshit talk.
Sure.
And experimenting with some of these different kind of thoughts and ideas.
Yeah.
So, and some of them hit, some of them, it kind of really does make you think. But, yeah.
It's really interesting because it starts off as, BJ Novak's character has, a bit of a fling with this girl, and he gets a phone call saying that she's passed, please attend her funeral, and he actually goes. By the time he gets there, he's realizing that she's talked about him to her family way more than he expected. So he's like, oh my gosh, and now he feels a bit of like responsibility to befriend the family, to maybe give them a little bit of comfort. He had to stand up in the funeral to give a bit of a speech, and this is all shown in the trailer. The brother, played by Boyd Holbrook, was like, so I actually don't think she just passed, well, unnaturally, but he believes that she was murdered, hence the title Vengeance. And what's interesting, that's another layer to the story, is that BJ Novak's character is a journalist, writer, podcaster. So in a way, I felt a little bit of an ick, just a little bit, because I was like, this is so tragic for this girl's family, and you're turning this into a podcast. But at the same time, if they were trying to chase, to kind of dig that other theory of like she actually was murdered, you probably have listened to 1 to 2 true crime podcasts in your lifetime.
That's really the tone that they seem to try to, a part of one of the tones.
Yes.
Because there's
actually a lot of different messaging throughout this movie.
Yeah, and I do have to admit, that does kind of make it a little confusing. Like, you're like, wait, hold on, is this, I can't quite, some of their theories are very, I don't want to say ethereal, but it kind of like, it's very hard to grasp on some of them. You kind of get a taste of it. You're like, okay, I think I understand what you're saying. But then they're already off to some other kind of theory and idea. And there are some times where you do have to catch up. Yes.
So I found that aside from exploring the possibility of her being murdered and him talking to people, was the process of watching the movie play out, how they're putting the podcast together with him and his producer on the podcast, played by Issa Rae. So I found that really interesting. And one of the things that I didn't mention in the beginning when we were kind of rattling off the cast is there's another character who you can't really bill, but I feel like the state of Texas in itself is a side character in this because it takes place in Texas. These are the people of Texas. So that is your setting. So it's really interesting to see, you know, kind of someone from New York with a certain idea and how the way they do things, and when they come to Texas. And it's a bit of I don't want to call it culture shock because it's still within the United States, but you witnessed a little bit of that. So the comedy bit of it, it does play on that a little bit as well as the uncomfortable humor that you were talking about, just a little bit towards the beginning. But I was surprised at how often I found myself in the audience were laughing throughout the screening.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there was only like a couple good chuckles, so it's not really very comedy heavy.
You're not belly laughing, but you're like, aha, I get that reference.
Yeah. And it really does kind of settle more into a whodunit murder mystery, trying to figure out exactly what happened.
And self-discovery as well.
Self-discovery. That is a really big theme in this entire movie, not just for the main character, but for everyone. And the certain images and labels.
Except for the state of Texas.
Except for the state of Texas.
Because they've already established Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And just the labels and the personas that people, one, will put onto themselves and also put onto other people.
Yes.
To kind of fit them into a certain category, and then slowly peeling that away through his discovery of, it's not just the fact that he's trying to like do a murder mystery, but he's also trying to build a podcast that is around this theme of misidentity. It's really hard for me to explain his theory because it's and
we also don't want to spoil anything for you guys, so we're trying to really watch what we're saying. Overall, I thought it was a really interesting film. I would like to see more writing and directing from BJ Novak after seeing this, but I actually really enjoyed the film, and with that said, I think we're going to go ahead and get into our rating, which, by the way, the movie couple rating scale is always listed in the video description below, so just go ahead and click on that drop down or see more, whatever it is, and it'll be listed there. My rating for this film, I really liked it. I think the story is really, really great. And as much as we love going to the theater and, you know, watching and sitting with an audience and, you know, kind of being a part of that big reaction from the audience, I also feel like this film can be enjoyed at home, so I'm going to give this a stream it.
I'm honestly right there with you. With this movie, I think this is a good movie to kind of be with your significant other or to be with a friend or two, and then afterwards you can kind of sit down and chat about it a little bit. So I'm definitely saying that this is a good stream it movie to watch at home, to be able to sit down and have like just some food while you're eating it.
Have a Whataburger.
Had a Whataburger.
Yeah.
And I feel bad. I've never had a Whataburger before, and I feel deprived now because of the Whataburger theme in this movie.
And with that said, that is our thoughts, non-spoiler thoughts on the movie Vengeance. Let us know your thoughts when you see the movie, and make sure you come back to this channel and comment your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.